It's been snowing and my sickness has not gone away yet. And we're back here again. Well, technically, I was supposed to create a video, more videos, right? Uh, but I have to reconnect with myself because I've been so disconnected with myself. Because the outer world is trying to dictate my inner world or influencing it, and I have to regain control over my inner world because that is what we're trying to do. Too many of us are trying to gain control over our external world. Because I was listening today about the external world, I didn't understand how the hell. Because I've been trying to figure out what the hell. I look up to Bob Proctor. He's talked about the conscious and the subconscious, and I've been studying this for a long time. The reason being is it started with the power of the subconscious mind, and not many people understood about all of our through our life. We wasn't taught because I wanted to understand what make a person do the things that they do and why they do it. It's all perception. Your subconscious mind is a filter. It's a perception of lenses, ideas that govern your behavior. And I am on a quest, technically, on a quest to find out what make people marry a certain person, why they choose this certain person, why they choose a certain food. It's very interesting that because I was this book is very fascinating for you and I, right? It's called How Your Unconscious Mind Rules Your Behavior. And I've been studying on and off about the subconscious mind. And, all these self help books, all the books talk about how that your subconscious is like so deep more than the conscious, right? But this subconscious is affecting our reality, or technically is influencing our creation of this reality, meaning that we are creating subconsciously instead of consciously. We're creating by the past, you know, I was listening to Dr. Joe Dispenza. He's correct. We are our brain. No, actually, not our brain. Yes, our brain, but more like the subconscious. Mind is the record of our past. And so we project this memory into this reality. And one of my memories that I keep projecting and creating was my ex. And now I have to let that go. Because I was listening to Ed and I was looking, because I've been wanting to disrupt a memory, no, disrupt a voice, disrupt a scenery, disrupt something in my mind, what I see, disrupting it, so I can create some outcome that I wanted that I never had before. In order to do that, I need to disrupt something in my subconscious, because in order to create something new and different, it's not about conscious. It's a conscious effort, but it's about constantly disrupting that into the subconscious, because the subconscious is making it easier for you. It's automatic. It's making it easier so you don't have to think. As you grow older, you don't have to think about because you don't want, most adults, you and I don't want to spend a lot of energy. I was playing a game, Yu-Gi-Oh cards, and because I had to think about the move that I had to make, and it was a deck that was really good for. I was competing with, I was playing with my friend, and that deck was, the top good deck that people use to win. And my brain used a lot of energy, and my energy got zapped. So our brain uses a lot of energy. So human behavior is a product of endless streams of perception, feelings, and thought at both the conscious and the unconscious level. Our subliminal brain is invisible to us, yet influence our conscious experience of the world in the most fundamental way, how we view ourselves and others. Subliminal meaning translate to the below the threshold. People think that enjoyment of a product is based on the qualities of the product, but their experience of it is very much based on on the product marketing, say Rachel. Philosophers have for centuries debated the nature of reality and whether the world we experience is real or an illusion. But the modern neuroscience teaches us that, in a way, our perception must be considered illusion. That's because we perceive the way only indirectly by process interpretation does for us. He said this. Who is his name? Leo said, every human mind is a scientist creating a model of the world around us, the everyday world that our brain detects through our senses. Like our theories of gravity, our modern sensory world is only approximate and based on concept invented by our minds. Now, if I feel like if we want to go to the next level, because I told this to this my neighbor, we as humans need to stop thinking that if you possess a mere materialistic thing, that means you're successful. But by that only mean that you're successful to the degree that that's who you want to be. For me, I don't care much about possession of things. I only care about the thing that aren't. I think of things that I don't want to be wasteful of. Books I can deal with. Of course, people like ebooks, right? I like physical copy because I can hold a copy and read it over and over again. I read the only reason I don't like it uh, ebooks. Of course, people will say ebooks are easy to carry around and stuff like that. Sure, but for me, I wanted to hold a book, to actually circle a book, and physically seeing that I, circle and whatever. And my point being is that human beings, through our whole life, we live in a perception of our own experience of the past. And that past is creating that current reality. But no reality, no current reality. It's the reality that we project into the world is what does Ed say? It's no longer serving us. And I was thinking about how Bob Proctor talked about the self-image. I couldn't understand it at what the hell he mean by self-image, right? Because Maxwell Maltz wrote a book called Psycho Cybernetics, and I couldn't get it. Of course, he was talking about we have a temperature, and that we'll go back right where we at, even if we try. Like, let's say if you're trying to make this amount of money, right? Exact this, and you made that, but then you go back to where it was because that's where your temperature is, right? I know I'm not explaining it really well because it's not my forte, but I still read a little bit, right? Anyway, this concept, if you see the average person doesn't have a understanding of their own brain, of their own mind, of how they're projecting their reality to this world. For example, when we're talking about romance, right? Girls project realities that, because I was reading a book trying to understand marriage, called "Laugh to a Better Way to Marriage" by Mark Hunger. And though I like romantic stuff, like movie and stuff, it's not how it worked. Meaning that we often see that we will be happy forever. But in relationship, there will be conflict a little bit because we show ourselves, um, our differences show up. That's what happened to my recent relationship last year. My recent ex said we're too different, but we always been different because it is who we have shown up to each other. Meaning that, for example, you and I have different past experience, different experiences. We were raised differently. We were born differently in different countries, in different ways. And when we meet each other, we put you know, uh, our best self, per se, right? Most relationship put their best foot forward to show the other and make us, feel the good feeling, dopamine rush, blah blah blah. And the nature drug releases this good feeling, but it only lasts about 6 months, right? And then after that, it resides, and you see other people, um, negative side. But we put it the good side over because we were in love and whatever that happened. Now, for example, let's talk about like this. If I was born in Asia, I wouldn't be who I am today. I wouldn't be me. Like if I was, that's why when I was a kid, of course, I hate being American, but now I'm grateful for being an American because I have the best of both worlds. Meaning that the experiences, the people that interact with me made who I am, and that if I was to live in my mom country, I wouldn't have this type of personality, and I would lose it, and I wouldn't be able to I wouldn't be able to concept because people say people in studies say that if you speak speak two languages, you're creative, or any language, you're creative. But we're all creative. We all know this bullshit. We don't need to play this bullshit. But what I'm saying is, if I was born in Asia or Vietnam, my perception, my subconscious would be so different, and I would apply it in America if I were to travel to America. But since all the experiences, all whatever happened, we tend to project our reality. So, I was listening to Ed, and he was saying that our mind is a weapon, and that perfect sense. Since a lot of law of attraction people talk about vibration and stuff. Your brain, your mind is a wall. If you give focus to it, it create your reality, right? It's zap. It's like, for instance, if you have crazy people with, they don't. When you come to the average person, you talk about dreaming about a better life, a better future, creating this, and they were like, "Why are you thinking that?" The thing is, they don't understand that because you've been hit with a powerful thought, and you've been toying with the idea as like, hey, maybe you can create a better life, right? And then you start projecting that reality, right? Your brain, your mind is a projector onto the screen of life, and that by you projecting and acting toward that, you're creating that reality, even though it can be messy. It's just that I feel like people don't create anymore. Not in art way, but in the reality, right? It's because I feel like as we grow older, there's a resistance in our brain that doesn't want to change. It's like when you're a kid, it's easier, but when you grow older, there's a resistance. I can feel it. I don't know why, but I can feel it, and it is disgusting. Right? Now, when it comes to these type of books, whether, for example, if you don't like reading books, that's okay. You're watching me talking about it and explaining it to it. It's okay. You don't have to read it. But one thing is, when you're learning this new concept, is interrupting the subconscious mind. And we need to project it with a different ideas. Because the old ideas is projecting our reality, whether we're conscious or unconscious or not. The food that we buy, the thing that we watch, the routine that we do, still influencing our behavior, and nothing is coming. I get it now. Nothing is coming in because we keep um, playing the same stories that it's in our subconscious mind, and we're projecting that same story, and that's why we're getting the same result. But if we disrupt that story and we somewhat, what's it? Ed said, shock the system, shock the subconscious mind, interrupt it, and make it so that you're, for example, if the past circumstances, past experience that you experienced to be true, then you need to disrupt it or shock it with something different, so your mind have some like if something that you really want for yourself and you shock it, and you have something to aim or whatever, and you achieve it, you shock it with like, hey, that could happen, and then you shock it so much that your brain start to move into that direction, and your you begin to play with the ideas like, hey, maybe there's something to this all, right? Maybe if I shock it a little bit more, a new world will open for me. Maybe a dream or something will happen because I shock it. Now, most people think this is crazy. It's not crazy. Most successful people have patterns of belief that help them to go where they are at. And Ed, we're talking about how, because I was watching this video, and he was talking about how successful people don't play the story. They let go of the old past, and then they write another new chapter. But then I was like, God damn, this is so conflicting. You know how like every they have some conflicting messages, whether it's Gary Vee or Grant Cardone or whatever that is. But I think it's about fusion. Instead of taking too far, I think fusion is much better. Anyway, if you want to study the mind, or anybody who's into the mind, uh, this is a great book for you. I'm serious. It's a great book, and it talk about memories and how memories, what we think our memory is always shifting, and that's pretty much it. Subscribe to my channel because I will be doing more book reviews, interviews. But right now, my throat is itching or hurting. So anyway, enjoy your day. Just enjoy. But also, if you want it to be better, engage with subconscious and break it. That's it. Bye bye.